knowledge is nondual. That is, in this knowledge, which we refer to as self-realization, there is no differentiation of a knower, the knowing, and the known. That is to say, in self-knowledge, your own existence or being is the knowledge. And the self that is known is not an object. And the one who knows is not an individual entity. The Upanishads declare Tattvamasi, that you are. That meaning Brahman, or the Absolute, which is the Self. The declaration is that you are that. Not that you are someone who can stand apart from that, to be ignorant of it or to conceive of it. Self-knowledge, therefore, is not something perceptual or conceptual. It is something else entirely. The self to be known, or Brahman, is not an object. The knowing is not perceiving or conceiving when it comes to self-knowledge. How all this is so is easily comprehended if you examine, deeply inquire into the nature of the knower, that is, yourself. The individual does not realize the self. Only the self can know itself. And if the self knows the self, there is nothing else to be known, for that alone is the abiding reality, or pure existence. In order to know the self as it is, to abide steadily as that, the Maharshi recommends, he gave instruction in Inquiry, saying that one should give up the objectivizing outlook, the tendency to see oneself as an object. Give up the objective outlook and inquire as to who you are. When you identify yourself as an object, such as unnecessary limitation or bondage, and from that bondage, due to misidentification, comes any kind of suffering. To eliminate suffering, eradicate bondage. To destroy the bondage, eliminate misidentification. To have misidentification cease, simply inquire as to who you are. If you misidentify as an individual, or as a mind, or as a body, all of that is clinging to the objective outlook. It is taking that which is non-objective, your being, and imagining it to be something. Whatever that thing is, in whatever form it appears, in truth it can never be the formless. The formless alone is eternal, for every form is subject to destruction, a birth and a death. The formless alone is eternal. As the Maharshi points out, the eternal is alone worth seeking and realizing. And the eternal is that, the real self itself. And only the eternal can know the eternal. Only the self knows the self. So if you attempt to meditate or spiritually practice or to inquire, from what position are you attempting to do so? The purpose of a practice, any kind of practice, is to dissolve the false sense of ego and every false definition appended to it. So when we inquire to know the self, we do not grasp, as it were, for an object, the self, as if yourself was apart from the self. For there are not two of you. There is only one of you. rather making one's vision non-objective, actually inquire as to what your nature is, what your very existence is, and cease to misidentify with a body or any of the attributes or activities of a body, with a mind or any of the states or modes or thoughts of the mind, and cease to misidentify with what the Maharishi refers to as the I thought or I notion, the concept of existing as an individual entity, which we commonly refer to as an ego. All such misidentification is merely imagined. And when that imagination is given, as it were, the solidity of your own reality, it seems as if solid, as if it were the case. Just as darkness can be said to be dense darkness, even though there's really nothing there. If you inquire, that's like bringing light to dense darkness. What happens to the darkness? Being insubstantial, it simply vanishes. It is like that with all of our bondage or ignorance. If we simply inquire to know who we are, the bondage, the misidentification, the ignorance vanishes.